I tell you, the worst price of the entire festival is in this race.
Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Racing YouTube channel in association with Racing TV. We're back. We're back in the same room. How are we feeling?
Yeah, very good. Good to have you back. It's been a lonely few days back here, I must confess.
Do you know what's depressing?
What is depressing?
You've been in freezing cold England for the last week. I've been in 25 degrees sunny Dubai, and yet you're still more tan than me?
What were you living under a rock out there? I think it's impossible to come back from a place like Dubai and not be anyway tan.
I think I've got paler.
You seem to kind of go beetroot on the nose after a day, and then nothing else happened.
I know, yeah. I know, it's not good,
shame,
is it?
mate.
Not
maybe
good.
if you stayed out there for a month, maybe you need to wangle that with work next time.
To be honest, I'm very much looking forward to being back, because we're a week away from the Cheltenham Festival.
No.
Well, it's this time next week. It'll be Cheltenham Festival Eve.
Yeah, which is a great day.
That is Christmas Eve.
It is a Christmas Eve.
If you could bottle that feeling up on the Monday night. Dreams are still alive. You get to walk down in the morning on the Tuesday, might have a pint in town before you head to the racecourse. Wander up to the racecourse, you get in there, the camaraderie, the people, the horses.
And also you think you're going to back 28 winners at that stage?
Dreams are alive.
There's just no way you're backing a loser all week. Then it hits you like a sack of bricks. But at the same time, we have to bottle that feeling up because it's the best feeling of the week.
It is, absolutely. And this video, you're going to watch us preview the 4 novice chases. We're going to do it in order of them. So we're going to start with the Arkle, then the National Hunt Chase, then we're going to go on to the Brown Advisory, and then we're going to finish off with the Turners. They look quite complicated, and they're all pretty open betting-wise. Possibly not the Brown Advisory, but there might be an angle to take on the favourite in that race. We're looking forward to it immensely. If you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button. If you can smash 500 likes, that would be superb. And we obviously have the preview night this Thursday in Birmingham. If you're in the area and you want to come along, it would be brilliant to have you there. We've got Charlie Post there. We've also
Melissa Jones,
and we're very much looking forward to having a good old chat about Cheltenham. I think you can turn up on the door. The address and stuff are in the description. If you just click below this video, you can see all the addresses. I think if you turn up, I think it's about 10 quid, maybe 12 on the door. A few pints, a good chat about racing. There'll be lots of other people there willing to chat about the races.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to it.
Really, really looking forward to it. So yeah, a massive, massive thank you to those that are coming. Let us know if you are down in the comments. We might bring a few of those poor folks and guides along to dish them out as well. So we do hope you enjoy that, and we hope to see you on Thursday. But let's start talking about the racing, because it just, Cheltenham, that feeling is just like when you're a week out. Some buzz.
Yeah, it is. It very much is. I was saying it in one of the previous videos. This year hasn't necessarily grabbed me a little bit like other years has. But in the last couple of weeks, it has changed. I've really gotten stuck in. I've really found it enjoyable to look through these markets. And as much as some people will maybe be a little bit snippy about we're not maybe seeing the best quality of novice chase this year, which I kind of agree with, it's a nice refreshing change to not be looking at an Arkle and seeing a 1 to 4 favourite, looking at a Turner seeing a 4 to 6 favourite. You actually have competitive races where you can get stuck in.
We are a week and a day away from the Arkle, and at the moment it looks a bit like this. Marine Nationale is 9 to 4. Elite Tomps 4 to 1. You can get 5 to 1 in places. Found a 50s in there. At best price about 9 to 2, 11 to 2 with William Hill. Sorry. A Gaelic Warrior probably won't run. Hunter's Yarn might run. Facile Vega's looking unlikely to run. JPR1 Quilixios, Blood Destiny, Mozzie, Matata. It's not a good Arkle, is it?
It's a average enough race, I'd have said.
Is it even an average Arkle?
Well, no, usually it has standout horses in it, and sometimes the race itself can cut up. This just looks pretty average.
Okay, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Marine Nationale.
Yeah.
Obviously, on his day, if they were all at their best, I have no doubt in my mind Marine Nationale is the best horse that's going to run in this race. What he's done on his last start, the Dublin Racing Festival, where Barry Connell made the excuse that the ground was too soft, he didn't like it at all. He was not beaten a million miles, but he was beaten convincingly. Do you keep the faith with him, or do you take him on with a horse who might be slightly more...
Well, coming there in form.
Coming there in form with an LTR Plus, found a 50, maybe a Hunter's Yarn. Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks ago you were saying that he was a Duke de Geneva possibly of this year. That could definitely be the case. But Marine National in there at 9-4, he's won the Supreme. He's was very good on his chasing debut, and he was just for whatever reason, he didn't seem like the Marine National that we know on his previous start. Do you forgive him?
I think I might have to forgive him, yeah. It's just one of those hard ones to get a handle on. Obviously a horse I really like. There was no excuses for the last day. I wouldn't really be saying that the ground was much of an excuse. I know he's probably a better horse on better ground, but he has won a soft ground Supreme. He's won a heavy ground Royal Bond. It shouldn't have been as much of a telling influence as it was. I think the thing that gets underplayed by quite a lot of people is he's a very relaxed horse.
Yes.
And he was completely on edge in the parade ring.
Okay. If we were just going to then suggest that that could be the reason why he underperformed, I know he's won the Supreme last year, but is there a chance he might not take in the... Oh, is he one of those horses where you might have to actually wait for 10 minutes before the Arkle before you back him?
Potentially, yeah. But I just remember he went round Cheltenham last year like a lamb. Like, you would have sworn he was just wandering around at home before the race. He took in the preliminaries brilliantly. And every time I've seen him, I've been lucky to see him quite a few times on track, he's been like that, other than the Dublin Racing Festival. Something completely wound him up, and he wasn't himself. And I think talking to Mikey after the race, he kind of said that to me in terms of that he just didn't feel himself for one reason or another. They couldn't really put a finger on it. There wasn't anything. It wasn't like he got there and then his wind caught up with him. It wasn't that he put his head in the air. He just was a little bit below par on the day. He wasn't knocked around, which is something I do think, in terms of giving him a second chance, the fact that he had such a easy time of things, I think will stand to him. Like, he hasn't had a hard race and lost. He's just been, you know, when his chance was gone, very quickly Mikey kind of gave up the ghost on him, let him come home in his own time. And, yeah. My thing is, I see quite a lot of people being very snippy about the prices of Marine National. The worst price, and you couldn't possibly buy it or back it. And I saw somebody last night on Twitter saying he wouldn't back it with stolen money. No alternatives are being given, though. Ilete Tom has been beaten the gut length of 40 lengths between his two starts at Cheltenham. Found a 50 jumps right, and a bit like Riviere de Tell, he'll get even more exposed on the old course.
But I do think Found a 50 will be in contention. I don't think he's going to be good enough to win it.
No, but yeah, so like he could run into the frame or something like that. Fair enough. Gaelic Warriors, you say, won't run. Hunter's Yarn is the unexposed horse, but he does have a jumping blemish in him, and he hasn't actually shown us anything to suggest he's a Grade 1 horse. Facile Vega, will he run here? Will he run in the Turners? And then you're down to JPR1 and Quilixios. I think Quilixios was flattered the last day, and JPR1 beat Matata, which I don't believe is good enough for him.
No, I completely agree. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to stick by Marine National. I think he's the best horse in the race. I'm going to forgive him the one run. He's been unbeaten in his whole career other than that one run, and therefore, in my opinion, he's the most consistent. I know people might go, how can you back him at 9-4 after what he did? I don't think it was that bad. He wasn't beaten a million miles, and he massively underperformed. I think you can see a much better Marine National. You've got to hope that the ground is better. You've got to probably hope that he takes in the preliminaries better.
Oh, there's no doubt, as much as the ground shouldn't have been as much of an excuse. Like, if we have another week like it is outside today, we're in clover.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Right, moving on to the National Hunt Chase. And this is quite a fascinating race because it's just hard to know. You've got Corbett's Cross in there, the favourite at the moment, 2-1. Embassy Gardens isn't far behind him in the market. He's 9-4. Salvador Ziggy last year's Potemps second. He's 5-1. Meeting of the Waters for Willie, 8-1. Broadway Boy, 8-1. 3-Car Bragg. Nick Rocket's probably not going to run.
I doubt.
Kilbeg King, Flooring Porter's not going to run. A few horses in there who won't. There might be a small field again with a race like this. I don't see anything more than 7 or 8 runners. How do you split those at the top? Corbett's Cross, how's he going to be ridden?
I think he'll be ridden cold to get home. They'll be worried he was keen into Bartlett last year.
Could you see a world where he's ridden maybe in a similar way to Carefully Selected a few years ago, where he's ridden cold and maybe a couple of jumping mistakes, because he definitely has those in him. He's not been a particularly great jumper over fences this season. They could put him on the back foot and then suddenly you're really almost scavenging for ground.
Yeah, I think it's hard to know. Sometimes when they go that extra distance, they'll jump well, and he's definitely a classy horse. I couldn't tell you, like, there is definitely a world where he can win this race. I don't like him in the slightest.
Okay.
I just really don't like him. I don't like what he did in the Bartlett last year. I think people were giving out to Mark Walsh. A horse very much has the option of jumping a little twiggy hurdle here or headbutting a huge big white rail, and he decided to do that. But a horse, I remember Mengley Khan doing that at Leopardstown one year. Like, it is a sign that there's a kink in him. People then say,
Abracadabras.
Yeah, exactly. He went and ducked through a rail. But like, those horses were absolute Fruit Loops. Like, you looked at him last day, and people are there, oh, he was so unlucky, he was brought down. When you look at the jump back, he jumped left into Run Wild Fred just as much as Run Wild Fred jumped right into him. The two of them just kind of met in a sandwich. He wasn't brought down.
And it's not ideal prep. He's not completed.
It's awful prep. He hasn't completed. He's looked poor jumping-wise in all of his starts this year. And I don't think, like, you look at the Bartlett 100 yards out from the final hurdle, you think he's going to win the Bartlett. Getting to the final hurdle, there's no way in hell. I don't think he would have been in the 3.
Embassy Gardens, another horse who disappointed in the Albert Bartlett last year, has been a revelation over fences this season.
He has, yeah. I've got to slightly bite my tongue about this horse because I was very snippy about him last year, which was right in the end because he didn't run well in the Bartlett, but he's been really good over fences. He was very good at Naas the last day. He is, if you can forgive that Bartlett effort, I think he's the class horse here.
Is he going to win? Do you trust him?
I think I might end up backing him on the day. I wouldn't say he's a horse of great trust just because what he did at Cheltenham last day, and I'm still not sure about him under pressure. But at the same time, you know, if he's of that kind of Statler ilk, he mightn't have to come under much pressure. I think the interesting one, I must confess, is Broadway Boy if he runs there.
Okay.
I just think he's a likely type to go from the front. He jumps very well. He's got good course form. My worry with him is who's going to ride him. And I don't know whether you have any insights for me, but...
I don't.
Well, that's an awful shame because I know Will Biddick is booked on Kilbeg King. With the greatest due respect, I wouldn't want any other British amateur on him.
Okay. I don't know who's going to ride him. I think the talk was maybe one of the young lads at the yard was going to, but I don't think he's had enough rides or winners or something like that. I think
you have to have a certain amount of winners to ride in this race now, yeah.
So he's not going to ride him. I don't know who they've booked. I suspect it's going to be an exterior booking. It's not going to be one within the Nigel Clifton-Davies team. So I've no idea. I agree. I think he's probably I think he's very solid. I think he's clearly stays very well and he clearly loves Cheltenham. And apparently he scoped very badly after his Warwick defeat in the Grade 2, where behind Great Dawning. I really don't know.
I find this an awfully hard race.
I don't like Meeting of the Waters. I don't like Salvador Ziggy.
Yeah.
And I don't like Corbett's Cross. I do quite like Kilbeg King, Broadway Boy, Embassy Gardens. Currently, right now, and this is not going to be much value to you watching at home, I have no idea who I'm going to back in the race.
Well, that's very helpful, mate. Cheers.
But I agree. I think Broadway Boy is very solid, and I do think that Embassy Gardens has the potential out of all those at the top to be that.
Yeah, one of the greatest injustices of this race is that Nick Rockett's not going to run it.
Yeah, he's probably going to the Irish National.
Yeah, I'd say so. He quite likes Ferryhouse. He won the Grade 2 at that meeting last year. I think that's been the plan for quite a while now.
Brown advisory time. Moving on to the 3-mile race, the Grade 1. Factor file in there at 4 to 5. Why is he running here? It'd be an absolute certainty in the Turners, which we'll get onto later. But he's going to run here. Fair enough. I like it. Stay Away Faye in there. 3 to 1 with Coral currently. Monty Star 11 to 2. Grade Dawning 11 to 2. Probably might run in the 2.5-mile race. MC Gardens isn't going to run here. Gaelic Warrior's not going to run. But then you've got Sandork again, Broadway Boy, a few others in there. But again, this isn't going to be much of a race. It's going to be quite a few.
It's going to be a concise race.
Concise. I do think like a horse like a Giovinco will probably run.
Probably.
I couldn't give him much of a chance, to be perfectly honest with you. So we're looking at Factor File, Stay Away Faye, and Monty Star. They're the 3 standouts. I really like Factor File, but I think Stay Away Faye is very much the solid one.
Yeah.
He's got proper form, proper open form in that Cotswold Chase. and he's jumped the most fences out of all of them this season. He's definitely the most streetwise, and against a horse of Factifile who never had a hurdling campaign, and has beaten Gaelic Warrior in a two-runner race, albeit he was very impressive. The times were great. They were a million miles away from ahead of the 2.5 mile handicap chase on the same meeting. I don't think I could back him at 4 to 5 for this.
No, it's quite a short price. I think a lot of it is down probably to the stable talk. There's an awful lot of talk. This is their next Gold Cup horse. Whether you believe that or whether it's kind of hearsay, people love to get kind of up on the hype train. Stay Away Faye, I think, is just a pretty underrated horse, to be honest. I think he's done very little wrong in his career. He's won an Albert Bartlett. He's danced the dances this year. He's had a decent campaign. He's won 2 novice chases in good standard races. And then, you know, he ran pretty well in the Gold Cup.
So where do you sit with him and Factifile?
I think Stay Away Faye at 3 to 1 is definitely, has to be considered as a bet against 4 to 5. I tell you, the worst price of the entire festival is in this race, this Monty Star. Holy mother of God, who's made him 9 to 2?
Why?
Well, it's just like, I'm not saying I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Xander Clegane's going to win this race, because I don't think he is. But
you're going to tell me that he's going to win the race?
No, I'm not going to, because I think he's got an awful lot to find with the top 2. My issue with this is Monty Star's beaten 3-card Bragg in a beginner's chase, and people have wet themselves. Xander Clegane's ran against 3-card Bragg 3 times in his career. He's currently 3-0.
Yeah.
And because he hasn't won a race, like, as much as he hasn't maybe set the world alight, I think it's very fair to assume, given that he's placed twice in Grade 2 races this season, that he would have been able to pick up a pretty egg and spoon beginner's chase over 2 mile 5. If Xander Clegane had won a beginner's chase, would he be 20 to 1? No, he'd be, apparently, based off this Monty Star logic, he'd be 7 to 1. So actually, I think, in a weird way, and I wouldn't, like, it's not something that everyone would be very keen on, because I think his chances of winning are small, but you do look at this race, I think it's a 5-6 runner race, and he's 20 to 1 each way in the first 3, and I think he'll come 3rd. I think he'll beat Monty Star.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on to the Turners, the final race that we're going to preview. And Factifile is also favourite for this, but unlikely to run. Grey Dawning in there, 11 to 4. Current favourite. Ginny's Destiny, 3 to 1. Gaelic Warrior, 4s. He was very disappointing at Leopardstown. Facile Vega could run here. He's 5 to 1. Iroko probably going to run. A Miracle, 11 to 2. A few others in there. American Mike might run. Imagine, Giovinco, possibly, maybe. I doubt it. This is a tricky race, isn't it?
It is quite, yeah. It's a difficult race to get a handle on.
Go on.
What was I say?
I don't like Ginny's Destiny whatsoever.
No, but he is the solid horse of
I
the
don't
lot.
think he is.
Well, he has to be.
I don't think he is.
But he is.
I don't think he is.
He is very
I think people have seen that Stage Style won the race last year when Appreciate It wasn't very good. Mighty Potter wasn't very good that day, and they're using Stage Star as the case of Ginny's Destiny. Any other year, you look at a horse like that and go, he's got no chance.
I understand that, but against Grey Dawning, Gaelic Warrior,
Grey Dawning should have beaten him at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I understand that, but like, it's not exactly a vintage renewal, is it?
I'd back Grey Dawning 10 out of 10 times to beat Ginny's Destiny again in a rematch over the same distance on the same day that time. Gaelic Warrior was so poor, might not even run. I suspect if I was him, I'd be going to that Fairy House Grade 1 over 2.5 going right-handed. Then you've got Facile Vega, who I genuinely think I might back. He's 5 to 1 at the moment with Coral. I do think he's ran very solid races this year. And if you just take away the hype from last year and people thinking he was this world beater superstar, having won the champion bumper, he still ran extremely good races this year. And his breeding, people look into that, suggests that he is going to be better up in trip, and there might be improvement. So I think at 5 to 1, I probably would back him, possibly. Iroko, I wouldn't like the fact he's only had the 1 run. And then I'm not really sure who else is going to run, but I really couldn't have Ginny's Destiny at all.
I can understand that. I personally think that he's near guaranteed to be in the first 3.
But if Stage Star hadn't have won last year, he would be 10 to 1.
Yeah, well, he'd probably be 6, 7 to 1.
He'd be 10 to 1.
Okay. Well, you're the bookmaker.
People are completely using Stage Star last year winning and using a similar route which isn't the done thing in this race, and saying that he can do the same.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can see that. I'm going to take a chance on Gaelic Warrior. I've got a vision of Paul Townend riding him like the way Ruby Walsh rode York Hill. It'll be buried in behind Ginny's Destiny on the rail, not allowed go right. They'll conserve, and they'll open him up. You do look at his 2 Cheltenham runs. Like, he was beaten ahead in the Boodles, and he was second in the Ballymore last year, which was a very good run. I think, obviously, it was a terrible run last time that he would have to get over. I would run him here because it's such a bad race, and he genuinely would be 4 to 6 if they were going the other way around in comparison to these in a class perspective. So I'm taking a chance at Force.
Fair enough. There we go. That is our preview of the 4 novice chases. We do hope you've enjoyed. We'll see you tomorrow for another video, the first of our day-by-day Cheltenham Festival previews. Please do hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and do look at the details for Scanlon's Club, the preview night on Thursday. We want to see you there, and hopefully we will.